As you saw from the video that I did on Wednesday, I recently got my hands on the Outlast Trials, and let me tell you, it was absolutely terrifying. This game was something else. There was so much blood and gore that I did in fact have to age restrict it, not because YouTube told me to, but because I myself deemed it as necessary. Those who watch my content know that I play horror games, none of which are lacking in blood or anything else. However, this game has more than just the basic blood you'll need. This game has more than just that. It has your daily intake of blood, yes, but it also has your fun intake of schmeat and body parts and some of the most disgusting things you'll ever have to do in a game. So let's ask the question, is this game an amazing multiplayer horror game, or is it just a gimmick with nothing but blood and gore to freak people out? If you don't know what the Outlast games are, then let me give you a quick rundown. Outlast is a 2013 first-person survival horror game developed and published by Red Barrels. The game revolves around a freelance investigative journalist named Miles Upshur, who decides to investigate a remote psychiatric hospital named Mount Massive Asylum, located deep in the mountains of Lake County, Colorado. And with this first game came a DLC called Outlast Whistleblower, which centers on Wayland Park, the man who led Miles Upshur to Mount Massive in the first place. As of May 2018, the whole series has sold 15 million copies. A sequel, Outlast 2, was released on April 25th, 2017, and the prequel, The Outlast Trials, was released on May 18, 2023. The first and second Outlast games inspired a comic book series called The Murkoff Account, which was released from July of 2016 to November 2017. Investigative journalist Miles Upshur discovers inhumane experiments at Mount Massive Asylum, a private psychiatric hospital owned by the Murkoff Corporation. Upon entering, he discovers the hospital's halls are ransacked and deranged inmates known as variants have escaped and are roaming the grounds. Eventually, after roaming through the asylum for just a little bit, he runs into a man named Chris Walker, a large burly man with superhuman strength and durability, who can easily pick up and tear off somebody's head. He can withstand multiple gunshots and is extremely athletic, running nearly as fast as Miles throughout every chase that he's in, despite him being severely damaged mentally and physically. Chris has extreme intelligence and is able to track down Miles in the asylum. He is well acclimated to the darkness and can detect his prey's presence by scent. Chris keeps trophies of his victims in the administration block's library. After Miles' brief encounter with Chris Walker, he is then introduced to a man named Father Martin Archambault, a self-appointed priest, who sabotages every escape attempt by cutting off power to the front doors. He shows Miles footage of something called the Walrider, which is a ghostly entity killing patients and personnel. Miles escapes through the sewers and encounters a man named Richard Traeger, a former Murkoff executive driven insane. After running around for a little bit and witnessing all of the horrors that the asylum has to offer, Miles runs into a man named Dr. Rudolf Gustav Wernicke, who believed intensive dream therapy could connect nanites into a single benevolent being. Miles finds an aged Wernicke, who confirms the Walrider is a biotechnological nanite entity controlled by a man named Billy Hope. Billy Hope, a comatose subject of Murkoff's experiments sold to them by his own mother, takes care of Wernicke like his own father. Miles is then tasked with terminating Billy's life support in hopes to destroy the Walrider, but the Walrider attacks Miles and possesses his body. Now we have the second game, which is promptly titled Outlast 2. We follow a new protagonist who goes by the name of Blake Langerman. Blake Langerman is an assisting cameraman for his wife Lynn, who investigates the murder of a pregnant teenager named Jane Doe at the current moment. They crash land in Arizona after being hit with a mysterious flashing light. They travel to a place called Temple Gate, where they learn the residents sacrifice their children in the name of God. He finds Lynn in a chapel, captured by a violent Christian cult leader. This man's name is Sullivan Knopf. They escape, but Lynn falters. They are kidnapped by a satanic splinter group called the Heretics, who wish to hasten the end of days by witnessing the birth of the Antichrist. Blake is rescued by a man named Ethan, who reveals his daughter Anna Lee is the Jane Doe that they were looking for. He is later kidnapped by the syphilis-infected Scald, who are cast out by Temple Gate. Blake then is tasked with escaping from their leaders, Laird and Nick. whose followers then betray them and throw them off the edge of a watchtower, killing them. Throughout their journey, Blake is repeatedly assaulted by the flashes of light and suffers from hallucinations. They find a document revealing the Murkoff Corporation is responsible for everyone's insanity due to an experimental mind control station. Blake finds Lynn pregnant during a ritual at the Heretics' underground temple. Noth's cult kills the Heretics, allowing them to flee. A lightning storm destroys the town, and a woman named Marta attacks. Lynn gives birth but dies. Noth implores Blake to kill the child before slitting his own throat. Blake finds his followers committed mass suicide, and he hallucinates being engulfed by the light one more time. Now that we've gone over the first two games, now we can talk about the Outlast Trials. The Outlast Trials is set in the same universe as all of the other Outlast games, but it is a prequel during the Cold War era. In this game, you play as a test subject in a series of twisted experiments conducted by the Murkoff Corporation. The plot revolves around your character and his struggle to survive in a nightmarish environment filled with horrors, while uncovering the dark secrets behind the experiments. The game focuses on stealth, cooperation with other players, because it supports multiplayer, and the psychological horror elements that the series is known for. It offers a chilling and suspenseful narrative as you try to escape the horrors of the trials. Now that you have a link to the story and where in the timeline this takes place, now I will tell you my thoughts and opinions on the gameplay. If you've ever actually played the Outlast games, then you know what I mean when I say this. It's very bland. It definitely feels the same as the other two games, just in a co-op setting. That doesn't mean it's not scary. If you've seen the video where I played, you can see Kyron, Olivia, and I all freak out. One of the key features of the Outlast games is the camera that you have, and on top of that, the night vision that comes with it, just to, creep you out even more. In the Outlast Trials, however, you do not have a camera, just a pair of night vision goggles that, have been surgically implanted into your skull. Both the camera and the goggles run out of battery. However, unlike the main games, it is not a death sentence if you do not have your goggles. However, you could walk into some traps that give sanity problems. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there is a sanity feature in this game, and if you gain some, what I like to call psycho points, you basically pull a Cyberpunk 2077 and go full cyber psycho. The gameplay is very loop-oriented, so you're playing the same things over and over and over again to get levels, and on top of that, get your freedom points. However, that doesn't mean the game isn't fun to play with friends. Overall though, I think the game is fun, even if it starts to get repetitive. The point is to play with friends, and with that, it changes the entire dynamic. Things spawn in different locations, so even seasoned players don't exactly know where everything is. This prevents each trial from being too easy and almost speedrunny. There are only 3 trials available right now because the game is still in early access, but all of the sceneries and atmospheres feel different and vibrant in a scary way. It feels like a threat can pop around any corner and get you. However, keep in mind, if you can't handle extreme gore or nudity, this game might not be for you. One thing I want to add on is the fact that the AI is a little dumb. Some great examples of this are all over the internet, but I'll share some of mine right here. Oh shit!
He saw me.
Man, fuck. You ever heard of Joe with The Legend of Joe?
Maybe.
Joe Mama? But just like how they can have their stupid moments, they can have their moments of extreme brilliance. For some reason, it's every time that I'm fucking hiding. Like, dog, what the fuck is this? It does lead to some of the funniest things I've heard from my friends, and honestly, I'm still shocked that some of the things that were said. But in really strange aspects, this game feels a little bit like Dead by Daylight, and along with that, it has one of the most fun minigames I've ever played. That being the arm wrestling minigame. You can ask all of my friends that I've played with that this is one, if not the best minigame we've ever played. You can hear how competitive we get when we play this game. Oh, that's not good. He said I played Dead by Daylight, that's crazy. Oh my god, get fucked!
I missed one! What the fuck was...
And to be 100% honest with you, I could definitely get several hours of footage just playing that. At the end of the day, I can't tell you whether or not to purchase this game. However, what I can say is that for me personally, it was a good purchase. The only problem is I have friends that I will play this with, and to be quite frank, I would never play this game alone. The reason isn't because it's scary, The reason is because the AI acts in strange ways, and with that, doing all the missions alone just doesn't really feel worth it to me. If you're looking for a fun and exciting game to terrify your friends, then ultimately, it's worth the purchase. But if you're looking for replayability or something to solo, it really isn't worth it. That's not to say that the game can't be soloed, but it definitely, to me, doesn't feel worth it. The game is centered around teamwork, and so you'd already be at a disadvantage. And with the monsters constantly pressing you specifically and that's it, you are definitely likely to die. A lot. If playing games like this alone is your thing, then go ahead. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it will be very difficult. So let's answer the question, is this game fun or just a gimmick? It's fun, but it doesn't come without its flaws and lack of options. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like if you want to see more content like this. If you have anything you want me to give my opinion on, put it in the comments and I will definitely try my best to give my opinion on it. Anyways, thank you guys and I will see you in the next video.